Greetings from Florida. We're working on a Hyundai Elantra 2009 to 2012 left front. This is the touring edition, but it might be similar for the sedan. You've got a buttonhole cover and a screw both in the armrest and right there where that handle is. Remove the side view mirror cover, pops off. Maybe unplug it. Take that clip, put it back on. If you need these, you can probably find them on my website, upanddownmainstreet.com, upanddownmainstreet.com. Feel free to go there. We ship them out pretty quick. If you have any questions, just ask them right here on YouTube. I'll be glad to answer them. Let's take off the motor. I've already been here once and I locked the window up in the meantime. And take off the handle. You're going to need to pull off the cables that go to the handle. Remember, it's going to go like that when you're done. I pulled out the drill bit right there that I'd used to lock up the window in the meantime. We're going to pull off those covers. That's where you get access to the bolts, the 10mm bolts that hold the regulator of the glass. So you can loosen those. The other one's off, the other bolt is off. A little bit of WD-40 on the channels on the side is a good idea too. Put the window up, hold it in place. Now, you need to knock out the center point of those rivets, the mandrel, the post in the middle, and then you're going to drill the rivets off. You don't need to over drill, just enough that you can get, because you're going to use self-tapping screws to go ahead and put it back together, to put it back onto the new panel. So just enough so you can pull off that. You don't have to drill all the way through it. Before you start taking everything apart, take a look at what you have. Do you have the right regulator? Make sure before you start taking everything apart. It's a good idea to double check it. Next up, 10mm bolts all around. All coming off. You got to push those rubber spacers for the cables in at some point in time. And I'm just loosening the panel here. You're going to take off the latch and the outside handle as well. So here I'm pulling off the wiring harness. Now, next up, probably a Torx 30, and you can't see it, but I'm taking out the 3 bolts that hold the latch in, Torx 30, come out very easily. And then also not shown, there's a black round cover on the side of your door. You're going to take off that black cover. There's a, I believe, 5/16 bolt inside. You're going to take out that bolt. Then pull back on the outside handle and remove where the keyhole cylinder is. Once you pull back on that handle, it should be quite easy to pull out that key cylinder. Then, to get the handle out, you're going to pull it towards the side of the door, towards the outside of the door, and you should be able to remove it. Try not to break the handle because you'd have to get another handle. And I think this is where I'm taking off the handle. And then there's a 5/16 bolt that holds the carrier that the handle goes into in place. You can loosen it or remove it. You're going to pull it right that way. Yeah, I showed you. That's how you're going to do it. I'm loosening or I think I just loosened that 5/16 bolt. The reason I say that is you're taking out the latch, the carrier plate that the handle goes into, that the outside handle goes into, and that big metal panel, the regulator panel. Now, next up, you need to remove the latch. I'm just feeding the wiring harness in there. And that comes off pretty easily. But I will have to, WD-40 is not a bad idea. I will have to push these through to be able to get that out. If this is helpful for you, do me a favor, like the video, please. L-I-K-E, like the video. That'll help other people find this on YouTube. Helps me a lot. If you need these, check my website out, upanddownmainstreet.com. If they're not there, well, they should be there by the time you look for them. Okay, so I got that out. That whole plate, that whole thing is being disposed of. Grab the new one. Little break in the action here. I probably went to go get the self-tapping screws. Now, some of these come with this that you have to attach. Some of them come with it already attached. Sometimes you have to drill off that plastic plate and screw it back in. The plastic plate that holds the latch in place. So hopefully I'll show you this. Yep, let's see how it goes. This one came with 2 screws. Now we're going to feed those 2 cables in right there. And you should be able to just pop that on. Hey, this time my hair is getting in the way. Just like that. And then pull those rubber pieces through. Feed the wiring harness through. And again, if you have an Elantra sedan, this might be similar. I think the part's a little different, but this might be similar. But this is definitely the Elantra Touring. And the front doors are different than the Elantra sedan, so don't get the wrong part. I'm just plugging in the wiring harness right there. Nothing complicated there. I physically, manually pulled up the glass clips to where they're going to have to be for the glass. Putting a couple 10 millimeters back in place to hold it in place. Looking for that 5/16 magnetic socket and the handle. So you're doing a couple things over there right now. You're going to physically align the carrier plate so that that 5/16 bolt lines up with the hole that it came out of. Not a big deal. You're going to tighten down that 5/16 bolt. Then you get two rubber grommets, spacers that go over that. You'll see how that goes. That's not a big deal. You're going to put the handle on, which I guess I already did. Put the 5/16 bolt back inside there, and you're going to put that black cover back on. Then you need your 3 Torx 30 bolts for the latch. Just be careful not to strip them or cross-thread them. Put the rest of the 10mm bolts back in. And let's put the handle back on. Make sure those cables are in properly. I was looking for a missing screw. Found it. Let's put the wiring harnesses back in. Before you bring the glass down, put the motor back on. Otherwise, the clips are just going to go to the bottom. So you need to have the motor on so there's some tension so that it'll stay in place. Three bolts, don't over tighten them. Looks like they were 10mm. Now you can bring the glass down. And you might have to physically put your hand in to open that clip up a little bit. You can tighten it down. I'm not going to even test it out because I already know it's going to work. I'm good at this. Oh, the first time I did it though, it was not inside the clip. So you have to make sure the clip's on both sides of the glass. So I'm feeling around to make sure. Now the speaker. We're going to put that back on, and I've got, I don't know if they're 10mm or 5/16, but they're self-tapping screws. Some thick self-tapping screws will hold that in just fine. I think they're 10mm. Again, if you need these, upanddownmainstreet.com. If this was helpful, just like the video. You don't have to send me any money. I appreciate it, but you don't need to. Just like the video. That'll help me a lot. That's how YouTube determines if it's a valid video to show to other people. I've also got it's the same process, but I've got the right front on YouTube as well if you want to see the procedure for the right front. Oh, and that bracket I just put on, I guess I didn't show, it's right next to that. I used, again, some of the tough self-tapping screws to put that on. Let's plug in the wiring harness. And I think you've got it under control. So feel free to watch the rest of the video if you'd like. Thank you for watching. Have a great week.